gonna record
Yep.
and speaker?
Yep.
Okay. Did y'all approve, did we have a first and a
So-
second? Yep.
We had a first and second for minutes.
Thank you,
Yes, no, on
thank
your
you.
part. Yes.
Dustin.
Okay,
Mattson.
then minutes are approved, which brings us to Collins. I will open the public hearing for Collins. I will waive the formal reading of the public notice as that was posted in the Sentinel. Is everyone familiar with the Collins property? All right, then if whichever of you would like to come up, and feel free to grab another chair if you all want to come up and give us a summary of what they're doing, and I'm sure we'll have some questions.
Hello, I'm Kip Finley. I'm the engineer, architectural engineer for this. This is Jillian Collins and Aaron Collins. And we are here for a 5-inch variance for building another bedroom on their house. They have another kid coming. And we want to build this coming season, not now, but in the spring, I guess, right?
When the contractor says they can do it,
Yeah.
after the baby is born.
So, you probably have a packet, okay. So the questions really are, do you agree with the look of the front of the house? I guess we go through the area variance criteria, and there's really no character change to the house because it's already built the same peaks, and it's gonna have now 3 jut outs to the front instead of 2. We tried other locations on the property to the left, to the back, but the floor plan didn't really work because the master bedroom goes across the back and the pool. On the left side is the air conditioning, the gas line, the electric line, and all that. So it ended up being in the front, which was not where we were originally going to do it. We were going to do it out in the attic. The variance, degree of variance is 0.07%, 5 inches out of 60 feet, so that's not much. It is self-created in that we want each child to have their own bedroom. I know that's not a criteria for granted or not granted, but it is self-created. And the property is not anywhere near a ag district. It's about 600 feet away, I believe. So we can answer any questions.
So I think I heard the answer what you just said, but just to be sure, so you've got your map, you've got the driveway on the one side, the pool on the back. Over here on the edge, was there a reason you didn't move over here for the?
There is an air conditioning unit and the electric and the cable come in the side.
All
Actually, the gas service comes in the side too.
right. I thought that was the reason you were giving, but those lines weren't on the map, so I thought I would ask to have that clear.
Well, and this one, so there's a lot on
Yep, yes, they are.
that side.
All right, thank you.
And really, we have to, the front isn't ideal either because the water line comes in the front too, but we can move that pretty easily.
This question really isn't relevant to the details of it, but this costs money to come here. You have to apply, and you're presumably paying him to represent you. Why not just shorten the building, the room by 6 inches instead?
We did an experiment where we put the furniture in that amount of space, and you couldn't really move around. We wanted to have room for a full-size bed, a rocking chair, and a dresser. And so we moved all of our kids' furniture into that square footage, and it was very clumsy.
Yeah, we did talk about it.
We did, yeah.
8 inch half a block off and,
Open at 16 foot, you know, I mean, it adds up, that 6 inch.
yeah,
All of a sudden you're talking an extra, whatever. Let's just say it was 9 square foot, you know, you're not adding a ton to the house with it.
no,
But it's enough for egress, you nailed it.
yeah. So, I even suggested go out 2 more feet because that still would be a minimal variance, but they're happy with.
It's the same size, so all the bedrooms basically now will be that 12 by 11 size, so they're all more or less the same size. They're all relatively small, so I don't think that a lot small, It would be pretty noticeable if you went smaller based off how small the boys' rooms already feel.
Yeah, you gotta be fair, 3 kids, you got 3 exactly the same size rooms, the same size closet doors, everything. Except one dedicated people, so you don't have any,
Potentially, we'll see.
the daughter will get people, so.
Maybe.
All right,
Any more questions? All right, I will waive the formal asking of the 5 questions because you've been covered in discussion and paperwork. Any comments from the public? All right, then can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
second.
Call that Dustin and for the first and Chris for the second. All those in favor? Aye, any opposed? All right, and the public hearing is closed. We're gonna go on to hear the next applicant and then come back and decide. You're welcome to hang out or leave as you see fit. It'll probably be 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Fine,
if you delivered. Okay.
If you want to leave, I'll be in touch tomorrow with the determination, whatever you decide. So if you decide you want to get up and leave, I'll call you tomorrow and say.
I don't have it tonight.
Next applicant is Lopez. As before, I waive, I won't even public notice posted in the Sentinel. Property. All right. And I'll give you a summary.
My name is Amy Lopez, this is my husband Chris. Thanks for hearing our request. What we're proposing is a new carport that fits within the footprint of where the original horse barn existed on our property at 176 Taylor Road. It's the location of the former Mendon Pony Club. The property is within the RA1 Residential Agricultural District. So we seek a variance to section 260-106 zoning requirements by the district that require a front setback of county roads of 60 feet. So we're proposing an open carport with a setback of about 3.5 feet. For context, I'll give you a brief history of the improvements that we've made to date. So our property was originally part of the historic Wesson Farmstead, which is located across the road. In 2014, we purchased the property with 2 existing structures. One was a horse barn and one was an equipment barn. In 2015, we renovated the equipment barn for our residents and restored the horse barn. There are existing remnants of a stone foundation where the original horse barn stood, and I believe it burned down. So it's located just north of the current horse barn, and it runs alongside Taylor Road. The footprint was developed into a gravel parking area where our vehicles currently exist. In 2021, we were actually recognized by the American Institute of Architects and received a Design Excellence Award for the property. And also in 2021, the Landmark Society of Western New York featured our home in their holiday homes event. So the improvements that we've made have been recognized for adaptive reuse and historic preservation, and in preserving the agrarian structures in a manner that's respectful to Mendon and respectful to the community. So we would like to construct a new carport where the current vehicles are parked. It would be a wooden frame, open structure with a canopy and a concrete foundation. The wood posts, concrete pillars, and metal roof would match the aesthetics of the current house and the horse barn. From Taylor Road, the visual impact would be very, very minimal, and it would actually shield the view of our vehicles from the road, using the rooftop as the shield. So we feel the proposed carport is certainly in keeping with the Mendon Comprehensive Plan that includes to preserve the rural and character of the community, protects the town's natural and historic resources, as well as designed in a manner that's equitable to landowners, that supports the development, protects the integrity of the town's landscape. We feel the proposed carport is in keeping with the New York State DEC Environmental Quality Act, the seeker Act and is consistent with the community's character. So lastly, we've provided 2 sketches that illustrate the existing structures, most of which are historically significant. And they exist well within the 60-foot front setback and contribute to the agrarian atmosphere along Taylor Road. So those existing structures are neighborhood homes. So the neighbor across the street and some homes and historic farmsteads that have been on the road since the road was conceived. So some of the properties that we cited in that site plan are our property, 176 Taylor Road, 185 Taylor Road, which is the previous Wesson farm, 155 Taylor Road, and 1123 West Bloomfield Road, which is to the east of our property, which is the historic schoolhouse, formerly schoolhouse. So in sketch number 2, just east of the West Bloomfield Road, shows the following properties: 217 Taylor Road, 222 Taylor Road, which is another historic farmhouse, and 242 Taylor Road, which again is another historic farmstead. So we thank you very much for your consideration, and we're certainly willing to answer any and all questions.
You said 3.5 feet setback?
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I thought it was a little bit bigger. You mean 3.5 feet from the fence or from the actual?
From the line, so the fence is actually within the setback.
Okay.
So this would align with the current house, which is the former equipment barn, so the canopy actually would be even further away. I think the house is 2 feet from the setback. This would be a little bit further from the setback, almost aligned with the house. But the fence is actually on the right of way.
Do you know how?
And we
far
just
the-
replaced that original fence where it was, and
Yeah.
that's why we kept it there, yeah.
Do you know how far the fence is from the road?
It's probably from the road, I'm guessing it's about 8 to 10 feet. Cause we mow it, so I'm thinking it's 8 to 10 feet, yeah.
Well, the bush hog's 6 feet wide, so it's a
Yeah,
little
it's a
wider
couple
than the bush hog.
passes, yeah, a couple passes.
So I think you just said the house is about the same distance as this will be.
The house is a little bit closer to the front setback. It was the existing equipment barn, it was a former equipment barn. So this aligns with the original foundation of the barn that Emmy mentioned.
The original.
So we'll be just further away from that foundation. The foundation has remained, we've tried to keep it there. It's acting as it's retaining the earth, and it has a really nice historic feel.
To the point with the earth, so the slope of the land is up, and then you're gonna have it drop because of the foundation, which
Correct.
will to some extent hide.
Yes, so
It'll
we
mostly hide.
submitted a cross-section of what it is, so
Yeah.
if you look at the section that I think we submitted, you can see where the stone wall is approximately and where the canopy is proposed, so it's essentially, you're gonna see the top of the canopy, you're gonna be screened from our vehicles, which we think is a positive thing. And it will be a galvanized aluminum metal roof to match the other 2 barns. So it'll kind of look like that whole farmstead, grouping of farmstead building.
And the approximate height from the top of the foundation wall to the top of the roof, do you have that?
Yeah, the foundation wall is about 6 feet from the grade where we park.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about a 6-foot high stone wall.
And that looks, it looks like 2 feet maybe on top of that is what the.
Where the structure would probably start,
And the highest.
yeah, and then go to about 10'4"
Okay.
at its highest.
And you use effectively 2 driveways, one on each side.
Yes, those are original driveways, yeah, so in the last project, we put asphalt in at the entrances per the requirements of the town.
And I think you said the foundation was there when you moved in.
Yes, the stone foundation.
Yeah, the photo that we provided kind of shows you the visual of what you'd see from the street.
Sometimes it's about asking questions you think you know the answer, but you want to be
Yeah.
sure that you're not off in the woods.
Absolutely.
And on that note, much of the property is also wooded and pastures in the back.
So yeah, the southern section, 3 acres approximately, is wooded and is part of the wetlands that the county mentioned. The northern section is pastures, open pastures. They've been pastures, it was original,
Pony
Pony
Club
Club
had its
amended.
pastures and we have it as
and
pastures.
the structures are near the road, like historic farm structures
So it doesn't look like on the maps and pictures, like there's much room for you to put your cars anywhere else.
No.
Everything else is already there.
We
Without putting them in the
explored, we
horse
thought
pastures
about
and-
other options, but we need the pastures for the horses.
And that's what it would take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it would be extending more road, which we wanna keep the green as much, we wanna keep the rural aspect as much as possible.
And this is something that's already half there.
Right.
It's there, we're parking our vehicles.
Yeah.
But into our part of due diligence, we look for alternatives and we'll explain why those alternatives aren't.
It seemed like the logical approach.
Yeah.
And the depth from where the cars would be, would that provide any hindrance to being able to route from that drive, those two driveways in, backing out?
No,
It just doesn't, like, from the photo, it doesn't provide a lot of depth, that's what I'm just trying to understand.
It's gonna work the same way it works now.
Okay.
The only difference is it will have.
You wouldn't have,
snow.
like, support structures though, in the middle. like
So the canopy does have two posts, that are shown on the section there.
I just didn't know if they're on the perimeter or if.
No, they would be spaced at about 12 feet on center,
Okay,
so that vehicles would go between those posts.
And it looks like the furthest back post, you've got maybe 10 feet from it before the end of the overhang.
True.
Which should give you plenty of room to,
that's what I was.
which I think goes to the point.
And we have
Yeah,
16
that's what-
feet between this canopy and the horse barn.
That's what I was
That's enough, so that's probably,
That's the
yeah.
measurement.
So there's another 16 feet from
Okay.
where the canopy, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking care of the property. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw this out there as a fellow ancient home owner in this community. I'm not allowed to do certain things, like, I couldn't put permanent front steps on front of my house because Clover's too close to mine. But I have different parameters where the water line also runs on my side of the street, and there's a few others. You have existing footprint, I mean, this was a thing, it still is a thing. Is there anything like that? Is there underground cable? Have you called 811 before you dig, sort of thing?
The only cable we're aware of are those that we put in when we did the renovation. So also underneath this canopy will be our condenser for our air conditioning. So we did run a line from the an electrical and condensate line from the house straight over through that foundation. And then we do have power currently out to that from the barn. We know where those are because the contractor, same contractor is doing it. But we haven't called yet for that. We will prior to any digging.
Yeah.
It's within the footprint of this foundation, so we likely won't find anything, but it's worth doing to be safe. Yeah.
Better to find out from a phone call than.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there'll be a total of 8 of these piers, so it's not a lot of digging, but there will be some digging, yeah.
And again, thank you for sticking with something like a carport. It's definitely, it fits in a little bit more with the agricultural aspect of maintaining that piece of property itself.
Any further questions? All right. Seeing that, I will go on to waive the last 3 to 5 questions. I think we covered the discussion of paperwork. Anyone in the public make a comment? All right. With that, a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public.
Second.
All right,
I'm sorry, who was second? Thank you, sorry.
all those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay, public hearing's closed. Just like before, you're welcome to hang out and discuss things or read whatever fits your need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we are back to the first application. Anyone have any reason we shouldn't act on this tonight? We'll discuss this more? All right, we have a draft I put together, we can refill it and modify as needed. So we'll get to a second motion that the area variance requested by Aaron and Jillian Collins to go to the front setback of 59.6 feet. I would suggest we approve, but we'll go through the rest of the site and I'll change that. Aaron and Jillian, property owners, appear before the zoning board at tonight's date. Section 26106 of the Amendment zoning code states RS30 needs a front setback of 60. They're asking for 59.6. Their intent is to build an additional bedroom so they have one for each of their children. The applicant intends to match the architecture of the existing residence while adding on to their house. Existing land usage, structural elements, and utility services, limit placement options. And I just wrote this up, listening to them talk. The applicants believe the space is needed for the proper usage. Does all of that sound good? Is anyone seeing anything that should be adjusted in that?
No.
All right. No members of the public commented. I don't think we got anything back from the county on this.
They came back at local, they just sent it back as a local,
Okay.
it's there, it's just nothing.
I didn't see a date on that, so.
That came through a while ago. It's basically the application that I submit, they just send it back as an application.
Okay. So the applicant sent to the county planning board for review and they commented, dated, it looks like 9/2. With that, weighing the details, I would say the request cannot be achieved by other feasible means.
That's the one I would disagree on. I think it can be by reducing the size. I don't think it's necessary, but I think that's feasible.
Any other thoughts on that?
I agree.
with that.
Okay, so it could be achieved by other feasible means such as changing the size. Alright. Number 2, it is not substantial as it is for less than a foot, reducing the setback requirement by approximately 7%. The request will not have an adverse physical environmental impact, as the minuscule. It will not have an undesirable change in the neighborhood as the addition is designed to maintain existing architectural feel.
It's gonna look a lot more like the rest of the houses in the neighborhood. You know, not that yours looked all that different, but like, it's kind of like, it looked like it could have been a little bit more.
This is the odd.
I would say was self-created as the creation of his family members by Mr. Kraft. Type 2 under seeker, I see no need for conditions. All of that sounds good. Could I get a motion to approve this draft as adopted? I need to approve. All right, and a second?
Second.
Alright, it's just you two all night long, okay,
All
thank
those
you.
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, then you have your approval.
Can I ask, how long is it good for? Is it with the property forever, or 6 months, a year?
The variance
Variances
states-
go with the land, so it's there until something weird happens in some far off future and maybe your grandkids will worry about that, maybe not.
The permit itself
Well,
is only a year, right?
Well, the permit itself, now you can apply for a building permit, but you've gotta get it done in a year, if you don't, you can renew it. You
The
get another
variance
year, but you have to
itself.
repay.
It's done.
Yeah.
The building permit would expire and you could get that renewed as needed, but that's
But they need
separate.
to act on this within,
You're right, because we had the fire department for that.
yeah, and I can't, at the top of my head, what is it?
I wanna say it's a year, but I think you can request extensions.
Okay. Cause planning board's a different number, so I'm going 45 in my head with one,
Longer.
just get your building permit soon,
Well,
yeah.
now they don't have a contract,
Okay,
so
don't
it might
be-
not be a building permit till February, March.
Oh, that, you're fine in that time frame.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you a letter that'll have all the information in it, it'll have the determination that they just gave, that
But I
we
think it was
finalized.
6 months.
I will
after the
email
permit
it to
expires.
you as well, I have your email address, so I'll send it to you. Yeah.
All right, thanks. All right, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck. And congratulations.
It's only a few inches, but thank you for the due diligence. We have moved back to Lopez. Anyone see a need for a reason not to act on this tonight? All right. This was the other, I put together a draft. the area variance requested by Chris and Amy Lopez for a carport with a front property line setback of 3.5 feet. Whereas code requires a 60-foot property setback, that the request be approved. Chris and Amy Lopez, property owners, showed up before the zoning board of appeals at tonight's meeting. Section 26106 of the amended zoning code states the R1 district has a front setback of 60 feet, and they are requesting approximately 3.5. The planned carport location has an existing foundation from a previous structure. The carport will be within this foundation and not encroach further. As such, it will open away from the road onto the existing gravel driveway. The planned location is currently being used for parking, as much of the property is pastoral or woodland. There is existing. There is existing raised land between the proposed carport and the road, which the applicant intends to retain. The existing house is similar distance from the road as the requested carport. And I wrote up another one, have you listened to them, of a number of neighboring properties that have similar setbacks. Does all of that sound good? Anything we need to add or change, apart from my typo of existing?
Good on that.
All right. No members of the public commented. We have a response from the county planning board from October 6th. On to the 5 questions. I would say it cannot be achieved by a feasible means as existing uses of the property prevent other options. I would say it is substantial, as it is approximately 83% reduction. That number is going to be wrong. That was based on 10 feet. But regardless, the logic, I think, holds in that it is substantial, although to some extent it is mitigated by the terrain and the foundation. So I would scratch the number and just put in the word significant. We could probably look it up in math, but I don't trust my counting on the fly.
Yeah, maybe 4%.
Approximately 94%?
Yeah.
That works, thank you. So it is substantial as it is approximately 94% reduction of the required setback. To some extent, this is mitigated by the terrain and existing foundation. I would say it would not have an existing physical or environmental effect as the location has been previously disturbed, and the affected usage remains the same. Not having undesirable changes in the neighborhood as it does not infringe significantly more than the existing house. And this one, I'm gonna say was not self-created as the foundation and usage at this location precede the applicant's ownership of the property.
According to your neighbor with the schoolhouse next door, it may predate the town as well.
So that's, we all can say it's self-created, but I think we can make an argument in this case, by all means, offer how you're wrong.
I've always wondered about that question.
I think that this might be the only one that isn't.
I would still say it's self-graded because.
Well, this, yeah, you wanna build something
Yeah.
that you.
Everything's self-created.
Right.
Unless something happened to you.
So I'm hearing the group say self-created as the applicant desired construction.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think it changes the decision in the shape.
No, but that was the first one in like 3 years of doing this, and I'm gonna say it wants it.
I think they'll meet the conditions.
No.
With all of that, motion to approve.
Aye.
I'll talk to you.
All right, and a second.
It's okay.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor of approving?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, anybody in approval?
Thank you very much.
All right, same thing. I will send you an emailed copy tomorrow and then I'll mail out the other one.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. I didn't get the
Apply
first.
for a building permit ASAP.
Oh, also, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We're there till 1.
Okay.
All right,
Yep.
we'll be there.
All right,
All
thanks.
right.
Bye, have a good
Have a
night,
great
guys.
day, guys.
Take care, bye.
Thank you.
I did not get the first and the second on that, I'm sorry. Oh, well, oh, dust?
Jeez, I know.
Welcome,
Like the
welcome.
fourth time tonight. Wow.
So
I know.
Katrina, we don't have anything scheduled for the future, which I
You have,
think means,
yes, if anything were to come in at this point, you're looking at December 8th. But, so you
so we have some time off and we may have something, we may not.
maybe, but I haven't even heard anybody.
December is quiet.
Your
Anything
house.
else anyone sees need to discuss?
I may, so I'm scheduling a shoulder reconstruction in tire. It might end up replacement, it's gonna depend on MRI. I tore labrum, posterior, anterior, the one that comes off your scapular, bicep and pec. And it's been that way for like 10 years. And I finally like just tore the last of the internal ones that holds the ball in the socket. So like, they're gonna do massive stuff in December. I don't know
Sweet.
when I'm gonna be coherent, like that sort of stuff, right? Yeah.
So hopefully nothing will be on the agenda, and plus
in
January,
December,
you all pretty much have a very quiet winter, typically.
Yeah.
But not always true, so we'll see.
Surprises do happen, but yes, normally,
People aren't, necessarily
that's
built.
all you're part of us. You can be sick, and as long as enough of us show up.
Steven,
We get that up here.
you're supposed to wrangle us cats.
Listen, you guys, it's like herding cats, nailing jello to a wall, I cannot with you people, so. I'm gonna need Chris Mahood to figure out whatever happened here.
We still have to close though.
Anything else, or should we
Oh, gosh,
motion to adjourn then?
yes, so moved.
Oh,
In a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Justin and Madison. Do I hit stop? Is that safe?
Yeah.
You can